Hi, everyone. I just wanted to take this opportunity to review SINTX Technologies. This particular stock has garnered quite a lot of interest ever since their recent publication stating that they um, have a uh, composition of silicon nitride that deactivates COVID-19 within minutes. Um, Since that time, as you can see, the stock bounced from the about the 80 cent level up to a high of 370 before it retraced, and it's still showing some considerable strength. So we're going to review some of the technicals here. Um, these red lines you see on the chart are Fibonacci levels uh, from different highs and lows. But before we get to that, you can see that on the 1 hour chart, which I like to look at, we have a wedge that's come into play that's uh, coming towards completion on Monday, and we should see a significant move out of that wedge either to the upside or the downside. Most often wedges will be a continuation move, so we expect a further upside from this wedge. And if we look at the 370 level down to about the $1 level, about $2.70 move. So this could very easily hit one of the top fib levels here around 439 or higher. So uh, we do expect a significant move to the 4+ mark next week. Let's see if that comes to realization. As we can see on the hourly chart, the stochastics peaked over here, and then there was a downtrend, and then once again an uptrend formed here, and then another downtrend, and now we've seen some stabilization, and you can see that the red line's crossing over, and we should start seeing an uptrend on the hourly chart, which would coincide with a potential upside move on Monday or Tuesday. In addition, we could look at the RSI, which is now cooled down on the hourly into the 40s, which is not a bad level to bounce from. And money flow index here is, while initially declining, has stabilized while the stock remained today in the $2 range. And the Chaikin money flow, we can see that it has been above the red line, which is also a good sign. And then finally on the MACD, we can see that the MACD is starting to curl. We may see a crossover here coming into early next week. That would also be very nice to suggest upside movement. Go into a larger time frame. It's the 4 hour, where we can see the money flow is very strong in the 90s. And we see that the RSI is in the 50s, which is a very nice place to bounce from. And it's stabilized in the 50s, which is typically very good for a bullish movement or continuation of a bullish move. And then finally, we also have the stochastics here also appear to be close to bottoming, which is very nice. And the MACD, this perhaps maybe the only bearish signal on this chart, suggesting a crossover and potential downside continuation here. And then on the daily chart, we can see that the stochastics are uptrending and there has already been a crossover. So this suggests continuing upside continuation. The RSI is 68 and certainly has some room to the upside, although it is clearly overbought. And the money flow is running very hot at 90, but stable. And Chaikin money flow is showing that while after an initial drop, when it peaked at 370, and over the course of the past 3 or 4 days, it's the Chaikin money flow has been quite bullish. And finally, the MACD is running very hot and bullish, and there's been a clear crossover, and it's in the positive bullish direction here, so we're in good shape there. So looking more closely at the chart, we can see that the on the 5-minute chart, go look at the 1 day here. some levels to watch. We're right now sitting in the $2 range. 219, 234, 248 are some fib levels where it may settle, as you can see at the 238.2 retracement here. 219, it was rejected earlier today. So these are just some short-term levels that I'm keeping track of. But otherwise, everything looks pretty positive. From a fundamental point of view, we're looking at a stock that creates a compound formulation of silicon nitride that's used in spinal implants, and they have a contractual relationship with a company called Medica, which supplies these implants. And now, based on previous earnings calls, we also know that they've been trying to expand out of the spinal implant to other ceramics, other formulations, and we know that silicon nitride is also used in engineering, diesel parts, different many different areas of industry. And now that we see there may be a potential use in combating COVID-19, it certainly looks very bullish for the company. Overall, earnings have been quite negative. They have very limited revenues, and their earnings, they're losing millions of dollars every quarter. However, they've recently done some cash raises with two offerings. The price has stayed stable, well above the most recent offering at 172, and with the potential upside of for the business and potential opportunities and partnerships, I remain quite bullish on this stock. So that's my update for SINTX. I hope you found it helpful. Thanks very much.